All right, folks, here we are for another session of Off the Grid. Hey, our next guest is a legendary Bay Area hip-hop producer. He is one half of the group Homeliss Derelix. The architect and his partner in music, Grand the Visitor, made a name for themselves in the underground scene way back in the early 90s with a jazz-influenced style. The architect is still killing it to this day. Some of his resume includes the production of Encore's classic album, Self-Preservation, and he was a major part of the first generation of Stone's Throw Records when they got together. Plus, he has an amazing resume of dope MCs that he's worked with and just amazing catalog of beats. So I wanted to welcome California music producer, The Architect. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Peace. I'm chilling, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm sad that the weekend is almost over, but yeah, I'm gonna make it happen.
You know what I mean? No, that's what's up, man.
Can we start with just a quick introduction of yourself? Tell us where you were born, where exactly in California you are now, and how long you've been making music.
So I'm the architect. I was born in Milwaukee, but I moved to Milpitas, California, the South Bay area when I was 3. And, I came up in the South Bay. As of now, my studio is in Oakland, and that's pretty much where I'm based at. You know what I'm saying? I've been out there for about 20 years, probably longer than that, about 25 years. But, yeah, that's what it is, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, hey, Milpitas, man. So I grew up a little bit in the Santa Cruz and then closer to the Sac area, in a town called Vacaville. I don't know if you know where that's at, but
yeah, I know exactly.
Hey, Milpitas, we used to go out there for like Asian food. They used to have all the different Asian food.
Milpitas has a dope history in hip hop. Charisma's from Milpitas.
Yeah.
And Peanut Butter Wolf, he's from San Jose, but where he lived in San Jose is only a few blocks up from where we stayed in Milpitas or whatever. So, it's my spot.
Yeah.
Man. Shout out to all the homies.
You guys heavy hitters, man. And so before I go into your storied resume of all the amazing things that you have accomplished, I wanted to talk to you and take it way back and just kind of figure out who were your musical influences when you first started making music.
That's interesting. It's hard to say. It was so much, because hip hop was just growing at that time. So it's like James Brown. You know what I mean? One of the big records that influenced me was the first Jungle Brothers record. You know what I mean? ABC fourth, Public Enemy's first albums. Yeah. Obviously Gangstar premiere, what they were doing.
Yes.
The influence on me. Diamond D, EPMD. You know what I mean? I mean, these are all just, I can go on and on, it's all the different eras, you know what I mean? And, that 89 era really, was really got me into it. You know what I'm saying? 88, 89.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned Gangstar, and so I saw a lot of that in your early stuff, and I even saw like Peanut Butter Wolf and Charisma when they first heard your stuff. They were amazed because they thought that you had more of an East Coast sound, and they couldn't believe that you guys were living on the West Coast. So that's awesome, man. So I love the influences that you have, and it was quite apparent in the music that you guys were making early on. That's dope.
No, definitely. I mean, a lot of the music I was hearing at that time through like KZSU Stanford, you know what I mean? Shout out to Kevy Kev, the drum and all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying, was, it was coming from the East Coast, and, but there was a lot of still West Coast stuff in there too, but, that was just the sound, that classic sound, and that's kind of how I came up, so,
Yeah. Hey, if you had to pinpoint just a couple albums, maybe one or two, and don't have to be your favorite ones, but what were critical in the development of the architect and who he is today?
I would definitely say, like I said, that first Jungle Brothers record, Schoolie D's first record, with Uptown Saturday Night and all that from Schoolie D. Step in the Arena, that was a breaking point, you know what I mean? And EPMD's second album. And EPMD's second album was ridiculous.
Yeah, and so outside of rap, do you have any other genres of music that you like?
Well, I like all music, you know what I mean? I listen to all music, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? From, you know, funk, you know, classical songs, you know what I mean? Thai pop music, you know what I mean? Like, I just listen to all kinds of stuff. So,
That's
you know,
awesome, man.
yeah, I just try to find shit that ain't nobody used yet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's unique about being a producer. That's true, man. And then I love your name too, the architect, right? And so it's like kind of like, oh man, create and build and so was that kind of the inspiration behind you coming up with your name? What's the story behind your name?
Well, initially when I was at Homeliss Derelix and just coming up in general in the South Bay as a producer, and I was producing pretty young, you know, so like
Yep.
I had a sampler when I was like 15, so people was coming through. I was going to studios, you know, making beats. At that time, I was G Love, but then another group came out not too long, you know what I mean, and they seemed to be a big group. It was G Love and Special Sauce, and at that time, I felt like, you know, they don't have, you know, he had the name. He got there first, so he gets the name. I didn't feel like at that time having the same name as
Yeah.
another person was dope. You know what I'm saying? I was not trying to I was like, oh, this dude's already on the radio and it's G Love and Special Sauce. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a whole thing. So I was like, you know what? Let me change my name. And I was just riding in the car with the homie and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the architect. You
Nice.
know, and there it is.
Yeah, and so you mentioned that you had a sampler when you were quite young. Did you start producing off the bat? I thought I read that you were rapping first, or was it just both, or were you producing
No,
first?
I was actually a DJ, a local, like, you know, mobile DJ. My father was
Okay.
a DJ too, a mobile DJ. Then he went on to own a nightclub.
Okay.
So, you know, I had speakers and stuff, so I would go around to like parties all over the South Bay, all over the Bay Area, really, and you know, DJ for parties. You know what I'm saying? Like house parties, not nightclubs, because I was only 15.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so I would do all the house parties. You know what I mean? So I was doing that, and then I started doing that pretty young too, from like 8th grade. So I had the turntables, I was listening to the music. I was buying records because I'd go to a record store with my dad, and he would buy his records. I would be buying, you know, my little one record or whatever he let me cop. So I was hearing the music, you know what I mean, DJing out, you know what I'm saying, at the school dances, like I said, house parties. And I was like, yo, I want to make this shit. I want to make this music that I'm DJing. So that was like, you know, my inspiration. I had to figure out how to do it. And, you know, once again, I always tell people it's not like I was in, you know, the Bronx or I was in New York or, you know, even Los Angeles. So I didn't have a bunch of people around me with samplers and producers that could just say, oh, go buy this. So I went, got a 4-track first. I thought they were doing it with 4 tracks, like mixing records. I didn't even know it was a sampler. So after the 4-track, then I got a drum machine and the 4-track, but that still wasn't making a sound. And then eventually, going back to the music store a lot, they was like, you know, I think you might need this, and it was an EPS sound.
Yeah, it probably didn't hurt too. Your dad being a DJ, and I don't want to butcher his DJ name, DJ Ebonite, right? Is that what he went by?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
He owned a
Yeah,
nightclub called the French Quarters. You know, Sunnyvale, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd you say? Did you say Sunnyvale or San Jose? Where was it at?
Sunnyvale.
Sunnyvale. Okay, right on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I mean, you had him to coach you a little bit and show you what kind of good music was, and so that's awesome, man. I know my parents weren't trying to buy me no equipment when I was a kid, man. So super awesome, man. Lucky.
But
that
you know,
had
it was
that.
interesting because, like I said, you know, he's from a different era. It wasn't like he was in Run DMC. You know what I'm saying?
True.
He was in like R&B. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that his generation at that time, you know, was messing with. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he definitely wasn't spinning underground hip hop.
For sure.
So, you know, I came with my own take on the music from making it. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean, producing it rather than you know, moving out of the DJ phase. So it was like I didn't make this necessarily the kind of music that he would be spinning at the club.
That's funny, man. And so, what are you using now? I'm sure it's like 10 times better. You're probably using Pro Tools and all the good stuff now.
Right now I'm using the MPC. You know, for a minute I was using some of the pocket operator stuff. I use a bunch of different stuff. I was using like the knockouts, the little calculators. But my main piece right now is an MPC 1. You know what I mean? And I just like the the versatility of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just easy to get around in it. And, you know what I mean? So I'm using that right now. I don't really use a computer to make the beats. Like, I don't really do that. I do track things out into the computer, but, you know, it basically starts with the MPC one. And then I have a like Clone 808. You know what I mean? I got the MPC 4000. I'll break that out. The NV 8800 from Roland. I'll break that out. I got some 404s. You know, I just switch it up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Just so I don't have the same sound. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Like, my goal is to make things always sound different. So, like, you know, some guys you could like, oh, I can tell. My thing is I want all my beats to sound different.
Yeah, so. And that's, I noticed that big time going through your catalog too. It was crazy, just different experiences as I went through your first album as Homeliss Derelix, and then all the stuff you've done up to this point. It's just amazing, man. And so how did you and Gran hook up, man? Were you guys like classmates, or how was that initial connection made?
Actually, Gran's actually older than me, so you know, I knew his brother because, like I said, people knew I made beats. So his brother, I can't exactly remember who linked me up with his brother, but his brother when he did some beats, so he came to the crib, seen I made the beats or whatever, and I went to the studio with him and his cousin, and in the midst of that I met Gran, and I would go over their house and play the beats and stuff. Gran would be in there, and he just started rapping one day. I was like, oh wow! I was like, yo man, we need to do something. You know what I mean? So, you know, me and him right at that moment, he was like seeing the beats. He was already, you know, knowing I was working with his brother. So me and him, we just connected. He came by the crib. We just started making songs. We were recording them on 4-track. And
and was that the first album that you had on the self-made cassette that everybody and their moms is trying to get?
No. We were actually recording. None of those songs were on that. We were just developing our style. You know what I mean? We were making all kinds of different songs. I would say we did a lot of songs just in general on the 4-track, and then got to the point where we started making our EP or our album or whatever the case.
Gotcha. Is it crazy to think after all these years, just all the stuff you made, just people still after it and reproducing it, and just your impact on hip hop in general? Is it crazy to think, like, man, did you ever even think that when you were young?
No, it really is. It is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's definitely crazy. And, you know, if it wasn't for the internet, I probably would have never known. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, because back then, it was like I always say, it was like those records were selling or moving around or doing whatever they were doing, they were getting in people's hands. But they weren't, you know, it was all over the world. The distribution was worldwide. So, you know, it wasn't like I'm going to walk down the street and the average person is going to say, oh, that's the architect from Homeliss Derelix. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to be hearing somebody drive by playing the song. It just, those songs weren't built like that. You know what I mean? To do that per se. You know, they were more vinyl underground classics. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see your stuff, just everybody trying to re-release it. I think Germany was of late, was a company that wanted to re-release your stuff, and it's sold out and impossible to get. And I know on Discogs, that blue tape you guys made, I see it for a couple $100. I'm like, geez, man.
I wish I had some. Like I said, if I didn't know what I know now, I'd have all my, you know, promo material. I don't have any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, when you're the artist and you're doing it, you know, you just living it. You know, I mean, I'm not much of a. I always tell people I'm not much of a collector. I got records, all kinds of records and shit, but I'm not like sitting over not playing them. Like, I'm playing my records. You know what I'm saying? I'm digging through them, scratching them up. I'm doing the whole nine. So, you know. Yeah. With that said, man, I wish I had them tapes.
It's so awesome to see. Just I love just legends like yourself still active today too, man, and still doing your thing. So it's very inspiring too. And I'm a big believer that just isn't really an expiration date on folks making music. I know in the rap hip hop scene too, it's sometimes they want to call it the young man's game, but I think in other different genres, man, it's just, you know, the older the better, right? So I see that a lot in your music, man.
Man, that's dope, man. I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, exactly. I feel like things should be getting better. You know what I'm saying? We have access to technology and all kinds of different things to make it easier and better to make the kind of music that we always wanted to make back then. So, you know, me, I'm taking advantage of that. I'm not going to not make music now when I can finally do everything I want to do hella fast. You know what I mean? Like I can make 10 beats in, you know, in 2 hours or an hour or even less, depending on what I'm doing. I got access to all the music in the world. It's like, nah, I'm gonna be sampling and doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day, you know, you had to go buy the records. You got to travel.
Right.
I mean, That's a good point. It's not in your living room. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you already used everything in your living room or in your crate, you got to get on the bus or drive in your car somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like full action. So, you know, with that said, it's like, man, I got the world, you know, at my fingertips right now. And I'm still digging. I still buy records and all that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know. Yeah, man.
And so just early on, and so eventually at some point, you know, you guys did your blue tape, and then some people heard it, eventually got into your start with the Stones Throw Records label, man. Can we quickly dive in and just mention how you guys were introduced? How did you meet Peanut Butter Wolf? What was that relationship like, and how did that connection happen?
Okay, well, like I said, we were Homeliss Derelix. We was doing our thing. I already knew Charisma, though, because we're from the same city. Like, you know, went to high school and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's only one high school in the city.
Milpitas High, right?
Yeah, and everybody went to Milpitas High. Obviously, he went too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we already knew of each other, knew each other. So, you know, we were as Homeliss Derelix still. You know, we went to like a couple different like labels at that time. This label called Buck 50 Records. There was a couple other like local labels that we had took the records to. We were on the Buck 50 Records for a minute too. That's where San Quinn and JT the Bigger Fig and all them guys come out of that. You know, yeah, exactly. They were over there at the time recording with them and part of that label in whatever format. So whatever the case, we stopped working with them. And I went to LA and did some stuff with Coolio, and so did Grand. He didn't do the thing with Coolio, but he happened to move to LA at the same time. Long story short, oh no, I'm sorry, right before that, Actually, right before that, Charisma had mentioned, he had introduced me to Peanut Butter Wolf. They mentioned that they had management at this management company, Strong Arm Management.
Okay.
It's a long time ago, man. I'm trying to remember. So,
no worries,
you know what I mean? But
thank you for taking the time. Yeah.
The Strong Arm Management Company, Matt Brown, you know, we were all in the same management. So, you know, I basically met Peanut Butter through Charisma, you know what I mean? And then we became, you know, more friends in business, in the business aspect, because we ended up on the same management.
Yeah.
But then after Charisma was murdered, right, Wolf, you know, he didn't have the rapper, you know, his friend, you know what I mean? So he kind of just chilled out from the music in general for a minute, you know. Gotcha. Then I ended up going to LA and doing the thing with Coolio, and Grand went too. Okay. And then when I came back, that's when Wolf had started the label. So.
So you did the stuff with Coolio first. So I know you got your first major label placement, and you did the I Remember song. And at the time he was with Tommy Boy, right?
Yeah.
And he did that. Yeah. And so how was that? How did you get even introduced, or how did you get that opportunity to do a song for a legend like Coolio?
Well, one of my friends' sister's friend or somebody, they knew Spoon, which is Coolio's brother. And they, you know, and like I said, people in the Bay, in the South Bay and other parts of the Bay Area, they knew I made beats. So people were like, "Yo, this guy makes beats. You should check him out." So he came by my house and Spoon, and he's like, "Yo, you know," told me what was going on. I really didn't know much about. I mean, I knew about Coolio, but I didn't really know much about it, you know what I'm saying, or what the fuck to expect. So he just was like, "Yo, play some beats." I played the beats. He was like, "Okay." At the time, when I look back, I think he just wanted to see if I knew how to make beats, because he didn't pick those beats. He was just like, "Play some beats." He's like, "Okay, you can make beats. Okay, tight." And like a year later, I think like almost like a year later, he called my house and was like, "Yo, we need you in LA." And then some of my homies drove down to LA, you know what I'm saying? And we met up with him or whatever. You know, he took us to some of his people's house, and we, you know, I broke out the sampler, and we was cooking, making music, you know. And he had some other groups there too, and we was just making the music, you know what I mean, and doing the demos, and yeah, that was it. And it's funny because I always say this is it's ironic because, you know, when I'm on tour with Souls of Mischief, I DJ for them alongside Breakbeat Lou. I had never seen Breakbeat Lou's Ultimate Beats and Breaks. I had never seen that until I went to Coolio's, you know, down there to work with him, and I was making the beat for Coolio, and I was being all creative and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be like, I don't like this one. It's turn the beat off. He was already like damn near writing to it or whatever. I didn't even peep what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yo, the next beat you make, he's like, I'm using it. No matter what it is, I'm using it. That's it. I'm using it. I gotta go, you know, whatever. He's like, but you know what you might want to do? And he gave me the Ultimate Beats and Breaks record. And I was like, oh wow, damn, it's got all the breaks on it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I used that record combined with the other records I had, and cut it out, man. And that's what I made the beat out of.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, that was the first time and the only time I used the Ultimate Breaks and Beats. So, you know, it was a dope experience.
Yeah, and how long after you gave him that beat was that song completed? Did you not hear about it like for a year later? Or I know sometimes producers have frustration where they send out the beats and then you don't see.
Yeah, exactly. It don't ever even come out. Well, you know what? Actually, when I think about it, man, it might have been like a couple months later because I think when I came into the record was very close to done. So when I came into play, it was like, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't think any other producers outside of Wino produced on that record. I mean, I'm not absolutely sure, but it was very close after, and they put a single, like an actual 12-inch single of it out. So it happened within like 3 or 4 months. It was very fast. I was surprised. And I remember hearing it on like KMEL, you know, the local Bay Area station, and they was like doing I don't know, it might have been a Battle of the Beats or something like that, and they played it, and people liked it. I was like, oh, wow, this is crazy. It was crazy hearing that was like one of the first times I heard my stuff on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Like that. It had nothing really to do with it. And that, you know, I didn't bring the record up there. I just turned it on. Oh, shit. So,
I'm on.
That was dope, man.
That's another feather in your cap, man. I mean, having a song in the Tommy Boy catalog, that was one of the biggest labels at the time. I'm a big Naughty by Nature fan, Queen Latifah, House of Pain. I was like, who's who, man? And so you get the opportunity to work with Coolio, and that's awesome, man. I still listen to that song. The music video is awesome. So that's wild, man, to have that on your resume, man. Well, hey, man, with that, from your perspective, man, just current state of hip hop, man, you know, as you know, you've seen it for a long time and it just continues to evolve. How are you enjoying it as it continues to evolve? I mean, even more so, you're still part of the game too, as well. And so do you like how it's transforming, or how do you feel about that?
You know, the way I see it is like, it's so much music out there right now that, you know, you can find anything you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to be in need. If you want some underground hip hop, it's out there. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of in a good state in regards to, you know, I mean, look, the radio and the popular music, hip hop to me is a counterculture. It ain't never been about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's actually a new concept in hip hop to be super popular, the, you know, #1 hits and all this kind of stuff. So that's just a whole nother game. And I don't knock it, you know what I mean? It's like, people want to play that game, that's fine. But I mean, it's enough, it's a billion people on the planet. There's enough people around, there's enough to go around for everybody. So, you know, I actually think we're in a better place in a weird kind of way than we've ever been. And there's some dope stuff out there, man. You know, dudes is out there cooking, chopping up stuff. I'm hearing there's a lot of dope producers, a lot of dope stuff out there. So, and you always had to look for dope stuff. It never just popped up on your radar. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always had to look for the dope stuff.
Good point, man. Yeah. And so I saw in an interview that you did that you called, maybe not, it might have been a couple years ago, but you called this current time the modern age of the golden era. Is that, do you recall saying that at some point?
Yeah. It's like my man K Burns, shout out to K Burns. He actually coined that phrase, the new golden era.
Okay.
And when he said it, it made a lot of sense, because at that moment when we was rocking, it was, you know, you had Fahim coming, you had West Side Gun coming, you had, you know, you know, I could go on and on, man. You know what I'm trying to say, you know, just
Yeah.
all of that stuff was happening right then. You know, Asia, you had the whole gold chain music movement happening. You know what I mean? So to me, it was like the new golden era. It was like, you know, and everybody was on some, you know, on some real beats and some real raps. So yeah.
Yeah, and I just found that interesting, and I had to think about that too. I was like, man, that's right, man. We saw just the birth of just new folks who were kind of bringing back that sound from the '90s, and so I was like, man, that's interesting. So yeah, that's
Well,
good.
you know,
That's awesome.
what was dope, what was really cool about it, it was like we're bringing back the sound, but they wasn't using anything from the '90s to do it.
Right.
So that's what made it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like you were hearing substitution drums and, you know, James Brown samples again or something. You know what I'm saying? You was hearing like new loops and new chops, and I was like, that's why I felt like it was like a new creative golden time happening. You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny, man. And you think it's all the filters that were helping out with that, or what do you think was? So I'm not a producer.
Shout out to Vinyl Frontier and all these kind of different places. I think people were just accessing so much music that they didn't necessarily have to deal with the same like vinyl records that, you know, that we would necessarily have to deal with. So I was just hearing a lot of ill loops, you know what I mean? Dirty Digs, them guys, you know, all kinds of dudes, man, just coming with straight heat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicholas Craven, that's another dude who be coming with heat.
Nicholas Craven. What's his name? Oh, okay. I gotta look up.
Yeah, check him out, man.
Yeah, and so you got, you know, your self-titled album dropped in 1993, and I forgot to ask you guys, how did you guys come up with the name Homeliss Derelix?
Grant came up with that name.
Okay.
And I think it had something to do with the fact that, you know, it was like where we was at in the South Bay was like we was just like we were homeless, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like we ain't even like, you know, from a particular area that's known in that kind of a way. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think it was something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I mentioned early on in the interview, just everybody. Oh man, I just see, you know, all the research I did. Everybody wants a copy of that album and that blue tape, man. Everybody's looking for it. They'll have to settle for the reprint, man, because the originals are. Yeah, it's hard. You never you made a great point, man. You never think about keeping that stuff, man. You just want to share your music and get your name out. Yeah,
it's funny. So earlier when you asked me earlier about rapping, it's like, you know, I rapped one time and it's on that blue tape.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, I didn't want to be a rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like that part I never wanted to actually be a rapper. I actually wanted to be a DJ producer because to me, right, that's kind of how it went. It went Jazzy Jeff, French Prince, Jam Master Jay with Run DMC, Premier with Guru. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's kind of how I saw it, you know. So I, you know, back then outside of Pete Rock, you know, Pete Rock did rap. Yeah. He was a producer, DJ that rapped, and you know, Large Professor. But for me, I just wanted to be the background DJ. But I did rap on that one song. That's probably why the tape worked so
much. Yeah, I love it, man. No, yeah, and then you guys got Fraudulent too, and man, just the beats, man, continue. A lot of great tracks. Surviving the Game is Cool Baby with Encore, and so you still. And then, I mean, like I said, man, everybody just trying to get that re-released. And then I know that there was a break between those two albums, and then the release that you pushed out in 2004, the Raise It Up album that was on the Dichotic Wax, which was released a couple years later. What was the reason for the break in between those first two albums and then Raise It Up? Were you guys just busy with life stuff, or just?
Yeah, I mean, I was still producing. Like during that time I was doing stuff for Planet Asia, and I think we were doing or finishing up Encore's second album in between there somewhere. We did Executive Lounge. Graham was on that. You know, Graham he'd be busy, man. He was just be moving around. You know, he's a elusive kind of guy. So, you know, he just probably just wasn't around at that moment for whatever reason. I don't know.
And there are a couple of questions I want to ask for what you just mentioned. So too, like that jump between your first few albums and then Raise It Up. It was crazy. Just your beat game was like bananas. Holy cow, man! This is just your trajectory was ridiculous. Just more amazing in beats. Alpha Omega and Raise It Up. Those are my favorite tracks. But I was just
wow, yeah.
Yo, you freaking blew my mind, man. And then And then you mentioned that you were doing work with Planet Asia. So I know he's from Fresno. And
Yep.
so how did you guys meet? How did you guys meet? Yeah, was that
We
at
met
shows?
through Fanatic,
Okay.
another producer that was doing early
That's
Stone
right.
Throw stuff, and he produced Asia's his first EP.
Kaleidoscope.
Yep, exactly. And so,
Yeah.
Asia was coming to the Bay a lot, and Fanatic was like, "Yo, you need to peep dude out." And Rascal also
Oh,
was
he's from the Bay.
involved. Yeah, exactly, because he's him and Asia knew each other too.
Cali Agents. Yep.
Yep, exactly. So between Rascal and Fanatic, but Fanatic actually introduced me, and then from there, I met Asia. It was just, family.
Oh my God, I knew he was something special too. I seen him perform. I went to a show that he performed at in San Jose State, like in 1998.
Oh
Oh,
wow, yeah.
wow. He was like, I just like, yeah, he killed it. I was like one of the only dudes jumping up and down, but
Yeah,
but he was.
his energy is ridiculous, and he still keeps it like that. That's what's so
Oh, I
crazy.
know. Holy cow. Yeah, and so you guys, man, album after album, and then you just continue to build on that resume of folks that you work with. Souls of Mischief too. I know that you got a bunch of stuff with A Plus and
Yep.
just that whole camp too. And so again, it's probably obvious that they're in the Bay Area too, out of Oakland. And so how about that connection? How did you guys connect with the folks from Souls of Mischief and just Hyro in general?
Well, I was in. Well, I would always see the Hyro dudes all over, just at different events or whatever throughout the
Yep.
years. But I ended up having my studio moved. I moved it into High Street Studios, and they had a room in High Street, and their room was catty corner to my room. So, from there we was just like, smoking, chilling. They're right there. They could hear my music. I could hear their music and stuff. So, they would come in, I play some beats or whatever. So, I think the first time we ended up rocking was on Encore's second album, The Layover.
Okay.
There's a song with Opio and A Plus in Encore. So,
Yeah.
we recorded then. Then they moved out of the studio. Then I moved out of the studio back to, because the studio was in San Francisco, back over to Oakland. And, Pep Love would come by the lab, and, so, it was just like homies coming through, chilling, you know what I'm saying, and recording, you know what I mean? And that's just kind of how the friendship grew.
Yeah, your circle's amazing, man. And so as you look back and think about the first albums that you put out, what was going through your head as you were assembling those albums? Were they just beats that you were sending over to Grand, or did you guys actually just kind of sit there and try to map out a sound that you wanted for that album? How was that? What was the process like?
Them in them days, most of the beats were made on the spot. Like they would be there for the, you know what I mean? Like for the
Oh
production.
man,
Like, it was a whole thing. Like we'd all get together, you know what I mean? Get our little, brewskis or whatever, our little Hennessy's and, light up. I make the beat right then. Cause I had the studio. I had a studio. And it's funny because see, Dan the Animator,
oh wow,
he's the one who signed me in Encore to 75 Arc Records, which was his record label.
amazing.
When he did that, he gave me a bunch of equipment like ADATs and microphone and all kinds of stuff, and then in an advanced us money to get the mixing boards and whatever we needed. So we had the studio.
Okay.
So that's a little pushing a little forward, but back in the day, basically I would make the beats on the spot, and then they would wrap it onto the 4-track.
That is crazy, man.
Then once we had the deal with Animator, then I'd make the beats on the spot, and we would, record it at a high level right then because we had the studio microphones and everything, and record it actually as the songs. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Yeah.
What was the time that it took to produce the first self-titled one and then Fraudulent? Was that a year process or did you guys knock that out quite quickly?
It's funny, Fraudulent, those records, we had them on 4-track recorded.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Then we went to a studio and recorded it. And I think we might even went back to the studio again, a different studio, and recorded it. So it was a process, but that's just how music was done back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a computer, right? Where it's going to come out pretty cool. It was like back then, a 4-track tape didn't sound.
That's right.
Yeah, it wasn't, you weren't able to go to market with it. So, you'd have to go to the studio. So that record was like done the old school way.
Okay.
you know, where you record it as a demo, enjoy your demo, then you go to studio hella times trying to recreate the demo, which never happens, but you know.
The magic. And so, I mean, just with all the different labels that you've been a part of, do you have the fortune of owning all your masters?
Oh wow. Well, I don't own the Coolio master, but
I know. Yeah, holy cow.
You know, I guess you could say. I mean, I guess you could say we own the rights to our music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The master, I don't know. I wouldn't say I have the masters to everything because I've lost stuff over the years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't say anybody would stop me from putting any of my old stuff out if I wanted to. I own the rights to.
And I love it, man. And those are timeless pieces that need to continue to surface, man. And so, and you guys never have any problems with those things running off the shelves. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, right.
So that's nuts, man. Hey, well, so with that, you mentioned that you did some touring with the Souls of Mischief, and you guys just finished your run. And how long was that run that you went along for them? And how was that experience like?
Man, well, it was we did it a year basically. It was 125 shows.
Oh my God.
We went to Europe twice, UK twice, Australia, all over the whole United States, Canada.
Amazing.
Yeah, man, it was amazing, man. The 30-year anniversary of 93 Till Infinity. It was so cool, man. Like, you know, every day a different city, a different show. Sometimes 2 shows a day. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was just rocking. It was insane.
Yeah. What was your favorite country that you visited?
Wow, interesting.
Maybe not favorite, but yeah, that's right. Maybe a memorable one. And so I know
I would say memorable was Australia. Was really memorable. I liked Australia. That was pretty cool. You know, I always loved London and all the Paris and all them spots is always popping. But yeah.
It's gotta be surreal.
New Zealand stood out. New Zealand was nice.
Man. That's got to be surreal, man. Just doing music, doing something that you love, and being in another country. And I saw in different interviews too, right? A lot of Homeliss Derelix fans too, right?
Yeah. People came out here and there. You know what I'm saying? I would see some records. You know what I mean? Dudes would pop up. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Some executive lounge records. I signed a few of those on the road, so it was cool to see and come in contact with what I'm saying, with some of the people.
Oh man, your touch and your reach is global, and there's no doubt the influence that you had on hip hop. So that's got to be amazing. And so 125 shows, holy cow, man! Where'd you find time to sleep, man?
We did it.
Oh man! All right. Well, with that, man, as long as you've been in the music game, what motivates you to still do music? How do you find inspiration to still do it?
Oh man. It's a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like almost habitual. I get up and, I always got some little ideas or something I want to throw together. You know what I'm saying? Inspiration just comes from, digging in the crates, finding them ill loops, finding them chops, stabs, snares, kicks, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the music keeps me inspired, so.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think too, man, just, when you guys started, you're making your own stuff and you got to slang them too. So the new guys don't get to experience that experience of making tapes and trying to sell them at the shows and just get people to listen to it. So it's crazy how far hip hop has come along, man. And did you try anything other than rapping and producing? Did you try any other element of hip hop?
Back in the day, you had to do everything. So, I mean, I broke down. I was a break dance, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say I was a famous break dancer, but I would, break dance. I would draw, you know what I'm saying? Do my graffiti, write a little bit, yeah, man, everything, man. I've delved in, I have a company called Black Madonna. So I delved in some making some clothes and some fashion stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I was messing with Web3 for a little while, checking out, the technology and that. So, I just try to keep my ear to the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and so I mean, shoot, you were in Milpitas, man. A lot of break dancers out there, Asian kids.
Yeah, right. Real talk. Real talk. I was saying, Qbert. I seen Qbert come to our high school before, and DJ.
Oh, that's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying? Yeah, yeah, crazy. Like, I mean, yeah, like back in the day, like I didn't even really know he was gonna be who he was. You know what I'm saying? But he
Right.
was still scratching it up and going crazy back then. It was dope. Milpitas
Oh,
High, man, at lunch.
yeah. That's wild, man. And so outside of music, man, I mean, just like again, as I was going through your catalog, so much ill music, man. And so, and then, you got, your normal things that you do, running that business and stuff. And so, what do you like to do for fun outside of music, man, when you have that free time, which is probably hard to come by?
Man, just chill out, relax. You know what I mean? Go hang out with the family. You know what I'm saying? You know, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, man, I got a couple of questions. Just we're getting on the personal side of the architect, and so I want to know what your favorite comedy movie is of all time.
Oh wow. My favorite comedy. I got one too. Man. Probably Eddie Murphy Delirious, but that's not really a comedy.
That's a
It's probably
classic.
more, yeah, but it is a classic, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Coming to America, you
That's
know what
oh,
I'm saying?
dude, that's my favorite. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah,
I was about to inject. Ah,
yeah.
hey, Coming to America is classic. What'd you think of Coming to America too, man? Was it?
I haven't
You,
even seen that. What? They have that?
yeah,
Oh,
oh, dude,
I gotta peep that. I didn't even see that.
dude, it's
I didn't
actually
even see
pretty good, man. It
Wow.
obviously doesn't beat the classic, but they did a good job. I think they did it
Okay.
some service.
I'm gonna have to peep that
That's
out.
funny. I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell them that America's my favorite movie, man. Um, hey, man, as mentioned, dude, you're in the Bay Area, dude. A lot of Asian folks. What's your favorite Asian food, man?
Oh wow. Lumpia.
Yeah.
But I don't even, I mean, that's Pacific Island. I don't know, but yeah, Lumpia.
Okay. Hey. Oh, dude. Every time I interview folks, I feel like I gotta explain what lumpia is. So I'm glad you know what it is. Hey, so you heard it. The architect eats lumpia, man. Hey, this is
Yes,
gonna be
sir.
part of my promo shoot, man. Uh,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Well, hey, man. Hey, so did you come to Hawaii on the leg for that Souls of Mischief tour? Were you guys out there?
Absolutely.
Damn.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I had a night shift and I wanted to go. Oh
Oh,
man.
damn. I wish you would have hit me, man. You know what I mean? I would have definitely put you on the list, man.
Oh my. Well, hey man, I would have taken you out for some lumpia, man.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have lumpia out there.
Oh man. Well, how was that? How was that in Hawaii, man? Do you eat sushi and raw fish at all, and or do you not mess with that?
I mean, I'm real picky about it. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? I'm real picky about it. But, they still have other stuff at the sushi bar that I like, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, but I'm kind of picky about, seafood and stuff like that. But, you know,
Okay.
I still would have found something I like. I always do. You
Yeah.
know. But the show was amazing out there, man. The show
I
was
saw the
like,
footage. It was
I was like,
crazy.
wow. What's really dope about the Souls of Mischief tour is that the fan base, it's not like, you know, everybody's like 50 or some kind of, or, everybody's like, 40 or something. It's like, it's a whole big range. There's a lot of young people at the shows. And
Yeah.
they know the songs, so you know what I mean? It's
Cool.
like they're singing the songs, they're going
Yeah.
off, bro. The support
Yeah.
is just ridiculous.
Oh my God. Yeah. And just the footage looked bananas, and everybody was singing 93 Till, and
Yeah, man. Woo!
yeah, that's always got to be
Classic.
crazy, man. Oh man. Well, hey man, I hope that you guys head out here again, man, and so that'd be awesome to connect. But as far as like just music, man, what any special projects that you want to talk about? I know I see you got just a bunch of folks you're working with. Sleep Sinatra is another
Yeah.
dope MC that I
Oh
really
yeah,
like.
sleep is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of soul stuff, or with the individual artists from that team. So, any special projects you want to highlight for us?
Man, I got right now I have a compilation out
Okay.
with Criminal God. It's got Easty Knack on it.
Okay.
Noah the Flood. It's called The Word Was With God. So
Oh man.
you know what I'm saying? That's the name of that project. It's got a lot of cool stuff on it. I'm in the process of working with Criminal God and finishing up an album with him,
Oh my
which
God.
is gonna be crazy. Um, you know, um, I got a bunch of tricks up my sleeve coming. I don't want
Oh,
to reveal everything. I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, as they say. But I got some big things coming. There's gonna be some stuff this year coming. So.
Are we gonna get you on the mic again, or is it gonna be strictly producing?
No, strictly producing.
Oh, okay. Even when you're drinking a little bit, you don't get the urge to freestyle.
I get a little freestyle on here and there with the homies or something. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know it's funny because you kind of got to know how to rap, right, to make beats for rappers. So you know, I know the phonetics and the general, format of how to rap and what it's all about, so that I know that the beat is rappable, if that makes sense.
I do.
So
Hey, well, with that, are there any plans for the Homeliss Derelix to get together and put something out in this year, in the future?
I've been hitting up Grand. We've been talking about it. I'm really hoping we can put something together.
I hope so too, man. Hip hop needs it for sure, man.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Hey, with that, what's the best place to find your music? Where do you want folks going to when they're looking for your music?
The best place to hit me is _architect on Instagram, at _architect on Instagram, or you can go to the Architect Beat Show on Bandcamp.
Oh.
Yep. And that's pretty much the best place. But go to my Instagram, man. Follow me. That's the best place to do it, because you get to my link tree, and then all the things I have going on are in the link tree. So
all the merch too, right? So absolutely.
Yeah, props to merch, y'all. A lot of the projects I do though that are going to be coming this year are going to be like real small runs, really collector's items, like maybe like 50 vinyls, and not on the internet. I'm not going to stream it. It's just going to be stuff that are art pieces. So be on the lookout for that, y'all.
Amazing. Hey, well, with that, is there anybody that you want to shout out before we close this amazing interview?
Man, man, I want to shout out the Mighty Souls of Mischief. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be back out there rocking this year, y'all. You know what I mean? Be on the lookout. Man, I want to shout out my homie Fanatic and everybody, Boss One, and everybody over at the Manic Mondays. Del presents Manic Mondays. I want to shout out Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Jeez.
Man, Planet Asia, Criminal God. Man, my man Birdland out there. We got something coming with him soon. My homie Cochise, K Burns. I can go on for days, y'all, but shout out to all the folks, man.
Yeah, well, hey, man, with that, as I mentioned, you are a truly living legend in the game. Your impact in hip hop is big, and so I just want to appreciate all the dope music that you made. And again, it's just amazing, and I love it that the legends are still doing music to this day. I look forward to continuing to follow all your music, and I'm going to keep cheering you on from Hawaii, man. So all the best, brother, and I can't wait to get this interview out.
Man, thank you, bro. I really appreciate it, man. Once again, shout out to Hawaii. I love that. I love that place, man. And I hope to see y'all soon. And, man, once again, thank you, bro.
Yep, Peace. Absolutely.